So NJ, the other side of the equation is once the state collects the revenue, I mean, taxation is the biggest controversy in any oil jurisdiction anyway, but once the state collects the revenue, how can law assist to turn that into development of skills, development of capacity? And what we've been talking about since yesterday about local content, which I found the concept of local content to be interpreted as a different thing depending on who's talking about it. So perhaps you can tell us what you think local content is and how law can assist in developing that, or whether it's a good thing in the first place.
I think it's a good thing. I think we need to take a step back and look at what this event is about. Catalyst for change in Africa and the oil and gas sector. It can either, yes, we agree, it can be a force for good, or it could be a force for bad, or it could be a force for good, or it could be wrong. But I don't want to sit back and to get caught up in the paralysis of analysis and lawyers looking at themselves and saying, we are the most important people, or we drive this, or we don't drive this. I think enough about us. Let's really look at what should this be about. Are we, the real question, I'm not trying to do Nicolas style, but the real question which we should start to think about is that how do we be that catalyst? How do we be solution finders? How do we provide solutions rather than just thinking about when we get to the judge, what the judge is going to think, or how is this going to be thought? But can we get there? Can we drive these business people? Can we make their life easier? Can we navigate the system to ensure that we put in, not that we have to always worry about rules in place to tie them down. Of course, local content is important. I think it is a shame that in most countries they don't have the right local content provisions, they don't have the right local content strategies or even vision in place that can really spur development. You are dealing with a continent where if you look across the board, local content is still under 10%. And you can say the IOCs this or IOCs that or whatever. There are people in the continent who are not benefiting from the resources of their countries. And this is something that has to be properly addressed. This is something that you can look at. And I think that the idea that the African nation should just look at the contract and say, okay, when you take your taxes, what kind of laws can we have them to police them to use their taxes properly? Enough with that. It's not your money, so it's none of your business what they do with your money. What you need to do is to create that opportunity, that enabling environment, that balance where the IOC also understand that it is not right, as the Honorable Moses said on the first day with the gas panel, it's not right that you're going to have an investment worth $2 billion and you do not have locals or participating in the entire value chain. And if you sit here worrying about what laws you have, or you miss the point. You're just looking at the glass half empty. You have to look at it from a bigger perspective. Can we take an Eric Williams approach and say, we are going to negotiate local content provisions in those contracts? Because you know what? You can put all the laws you want. They hire me, I'll get around it. And I'll make a lot of money. But how do you really look at it and saying, before you get to the judge, as he's talking about, before you go to look at the profit tax, or before you go to look at Nicolas saying it's balanced or that, where you get them is inside those contracts. Because they know once it's in contract, it's going to be respected. It don't matter what rules you have, because you know what we don't have is synchronized African system. My tax laws are not connected with my hydrocarbon laws. My insurance laws are not connected with this. When you even look at my insurance laws, why am I having insurance for a project in my country, but it's insurance coming out of the United States? And by the way, this insurance, even though it covers this or that, is done by the same company's home insurance. And who they're billing it to. So that's what we need to look. You need to get to the core of the thing, brother. You need to look at this industry and look at those contracts. Not just saying, going from a public law perspective, oh, we have this law, we have that law, we have that law. Then you get jammed in an issue where you find yourself like what Nicolas said in chat. So if you really going to be that capitalist for change, if you're really going to say, we're going to reform something, we're going to provide local content, we're going to empower people, then you have to start going step by step, brick by brick, looking at those contracts, looking at the way they structure things, and empower your people right from there. And trust me, the IOCs would continue being there. I think Equatorial Guinea did something which is unheralded of. They didn't just do local content, they did regional content. And you can still do that without, and that answers your question with regard to how do these local content laws prevent other qualified Africans. So what did they do? They said, well, we're going to still do local content. So if there's not an EG company, and then because normally what local content rules are always set is that if you go to Ghana, if you can't find a Ghanaian company, you go maybe to their petroleum commissions or their government and you get a waiver. And they say, we can't find them here. You guys are just not smart enough. You're not good enough. You don't have anything. You're not there yet. But then they turn it around in Equatorial Guinea. They said, well, we're a small country. We might not have everything you have, but we're going to do regional content. And when you do regional content, you go Equatorial Guinea first, they go to the region of CEMAC, and then they move Africa-wide. So that still creates empowerment within Africa, Africa-wide, local and regionally, and within Africa.